I am persuaded that neither death or life, nor angels, nor principalities shall be able to separate us from the love of God, which is in Christ Jesus.
Now God hath put his treasure into earthen vessels, committed to the dispensation of his word to weak, frail, mortal men, for this end, that the excellency of the power might appear to be of God, and not of men, that we might ascribe glory to this power.
I take a step to the right instead of left. One day I'll be free from real G and steer clear with no fear. Decision made, it's never too late to take and make plans. Tick tock, the clock goes. I wish the clock froze. I'm running out of time. How to get mine? The seconds, the hour is near. The lessons I learn without fear. The music is sick. I hear the right thoughts. I take a step to the right instead of left.
Alright, so welcome to my channel, Alchemically Me. So thankful to be here today. I want to break down the 7 spiritual steps or laws of alchemy. My channel is called Alchemically Me. So there are several schools on alchemy. There's several ways that people explain it. This is my channel. So I'm Alchemically Me, and you can be alchemically you. I'm very recently, just experiencing this first step of alchemy that I really want to take time and break down. I've been changed. I'm not the same, and I know that in this life there's a continual process of changing. So let me just read this. Solve e coagula is a psychological metaphor. By pursuing gold or listening to our intuitive higher calling, we break down limiting parts within us that are in the way of our transformation. The Philosopher's Stone into a free and whole being. Coagulation. This really reminds me of just like baking, you know, or cooking, like a recipe. But it talks about, number 1, the 4 levels of alchemy is the negredo, or the blackening, symbolic of death to the old ways. The albedo, or the whitening, it's symbolic of the process of rebirth and soul consciousness. The citrinitas, or yellowing, which is symbolic of the development of spirit consciousness. And the rubedo, or reddening, which is symbolic of attainment of spiritual liberation. So I'll put a link here to the website that I felt most comfortable with explaining it. And the first step is calcination. So we're going through 7. The first step is calcination. And calcination is the process of heating and decomposing raw matter, or in other words, breaking down parts of ourselves that are in the way of our own happiness. So our ego, pride, self-doubt, self-sabotage, arrogance, those things that can get in the way. So breaking that down, that's the first step. The second step is the dissolution. Once we've broken down all of our personality characteristics that were in the way of our evolution, we're left with the process of the dissolution, which is the beginning of feeling less identification with our illusionary sense of self. Once we're free from the strong grip of the egocentric self, we can take one step back and truly observe our positive and negative qualities. In this stage, our inability to take responsibility for our many faults, our repressed traumas, and other inner tensions rise to the surface, causing us to become aware how our behavior might affect others. So this was a very interesting stage for me in growth. I grew up in a family where the women in my family, my aunties, used to say stuff about the men in the family, which my uncles, I'm like, you guys are brothers and sisters, what's going on? But they used to say stuff like, oh, the men handle all the finances, the men are going to do this, they're going to take that. And the men are like this, and they would even say things to me about other aunties. And I'm like, okay. And I believed it. So when I would go into a room with another auntie, I already had a preconceived thought about how that auntie was going to behave toward me. So when I started to become aware that my thoughts about the auntie could be what's causing her to react to me just entering into the room, I really was able to get this step. And it really helped me with bettering my habits. The third step is separation. Separation is a stage where we make our thoughts and emotions more defined by practicing introspection, self-awareness, and self-analysis. A simple example of this process is understanding the difference between our anger and our grief, or the conflicting desire to isolate ourselves, but also connect with other people. This process of separation involves truly becoming aware of our authentic self feelings towards others and ourselves. In this stage, we choose to experience our anger, frustration, or disappointment towards another or ourselves, rather than reverting back to the old habit of dutifully trying to forgive and forget, because it is the right or comfortable thing to do. So this is an acceptance stage of separation. Some people call it shadow work, bringing things to the surface, you know, becoming aware of our darker side, just being more authentically ourselves. The fourth stage is conjunction. And after the purification and clarification of the first three stages, we must integrate and combine the remaining elements within us through the process of conjunction. Conjunction provides the inner space, assembly, boiling the soup, or TikTok, the clock goes, I wish the clock rose. That is required for us to truly and honestly accept all parts of our authentic self. So this is the coming together, this is the flavorful part of it. The fifth step is fermentation. Fermentation is the beginning of our process of rebirth. This stage can be compared to the death of a grape, TikTok, the clock goes, I wish the clock rose. I'm running out of time, I'll just get mine. The seconds to hour when, and I'm sure we've heard that scripture where the pressed, the grapes are pressed. TikTok, the clock goes, I wish the clock rose. Also, when seeds are planted, there's a rupturing that takes place as they nestle down into the soil. TikTok, the clock goes, I wish the clock rose. I'm running out of time, I'll just get mine. Seconds to hour, or steer clear with no fear. Made it's never too late to take and make plans. Here they divide it into two stages, two parts. Purification I'm running out of time, I'll just get mine. Seconds to hour, and steer clear with no fear. The sixth stage made it's never too late to take and make plans. Once we begin our spiritualization, we must find our way to integrate all of these spiritual realizations into our lives to allow them to become permanent. Distillation is the level of further purification. So through fermentation, it's really getting singular in flavor. And distillation is the purification method. We've heard of distilleries, and know for the most part what goes on there. Certain practices of mindfulness and self-inquiry are very useful in helping to facilitate movement towards the next stage. And the seventh stage is coagulation. Similar to the blood's ability to form clots and stop bleeding, coagulation is the moment we've broken open the head, or in other words, we have become free from the mind, and our consciousness or soul unites with the materia prima, the spirit. At this point, we found the elixir of life, also known in alchemy as the philosopher's stone. So this is a non-dualistic meeting point between two opposites, the spiritual self and the human self, the ego and the soul, inner and outer worlds. This represents the culmination of the spiritual journey and the holy moment of spiritual freedom or enlightenment. So in short, whatever just happened in my personal life, I was on live. I was on live on Instagram, my first time going live, and I just let it all out, okay? I don't know if the video was saved, that was my first time. But going through this process, it yields something that is worthwhile. It takes the pain and turns it into pleasure. It takes the uncertainty and the feelings of pride and ego and wanting to also be our true authentic self, and it levels them out, it purifies them, and then it comes up like the refiner's stone. So this is very similar also to refiner's fire, the way gold is purified. But this just has steps of breaking down. It recognizes the steps of the breaking down process, the coagulation process, and the recoming together in a true and authentic way. So hope this helps you understand alchemy a little better. Peace.
African men, you can never expect as a white lady that things will be complete equal. African men are raised up in an environment where women respect their man. So if you quarrel with your man, which can happen, it can happen even in any kind of marriage. Quarrel is a normal thing, misunderstanding is a normal thing. Mind the way you address your partner, because the moment you start insulting him, that one is a no-go, and that one will remain in his head.
You saved my soul long ago, and you cleansed and made me whole.
All praise to thee, O God of eternity.